You got Leon D here, and we're going to talk about food. I'm not an expert on anything to do with food, but I've been around a long time, and I am a professional barbecuologist. I know food. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know a lot of things that you may not like. That's the intro for Leon D. Let's get it on. This is your boy DJ Leon D. I'm gonna tell you about a place I went to, and this is gonna be a two-part series because it could be very long if it's just one part. But I'm gonna tell you about a place I went to actually this week. I was there for 3 days, and it seemed like the longest 3 days of my life. I went to Memphis, Tennessee. Now I have been to Memphis about 3 or 4 times. So it wasn't anything new, and I went as an adult all 3 or 4 times. It's just that this time it seemed like I had a lot of free time on my hands. So you can tell by my drone shots that I'm in Memphis because I got drone shots, and I went to eat in a few places in Memphis, and I was totally disappointed. Now let me tell you something about Memphis though. I've been there numerous times, and I love the barbecue. I love the barbecue, so don't get me wrong. But the problem is, if you don't want barbecue, what else are you going to eat? What else are you going to eat? That's where the problem becomes a problem in Memphis. And I was in East Memphis, so that's one of the actually that's one of the better areas of Memphis, because I'm gonna get into why that's one of the better areas of Memphis. So I went to a place called Alcenius, and I went there because a couple people said, "Hey, the food is not bad." So I go there and I ordered the meatloaf, and the meatloaf didn't take very long. It took maybe 5 minutes, maybe less than that, for the food before the food came out. So it didn't take very long. Alcenius, Alcenia''. The owner was there, and she was a nice lady, and I think her granddaughter runs the place. She was a nice lady. So when I walked in, I noticed that she had these wall posters up where she was in the New York Times, diner, drives and dives, and she's all this kind of stuff. And I knew she took a lot of pride in her food. So when the meatloaf came, first of all, I ordered mac and cheese and some baked beans to go with it. First of all, it's a large portion of food. Don't get me wrong. It's a large portion. So when I started eating, she was watching me, and I didn't say anything. And then, she came over, she goes, "Hey," very, very friendly lady. She said, "Hey, how was the food?" I said, "Well, to be honest about it, the mac and cheese was a little bland to me, and the meatloaf was very, very too much salt." No, what I said to her was, the meatloaf had more salt than I would like in my particular meals. That's when she lost it. She goes, "Well, my meatloaf is not too salty." I said, "Okay." She said, maybe it's the tomato paste or my seasoning I use that may have too much salt in it." I didn't say what parts had too much salt. I just said the meatloaf had too much salt for my taste. And she started talking about, "I've been in the New York Times, I've been so and so the people up north love my food." I said, "Listen, people down south, to me in general, over seasoned food with salt. People in the South just love their salt, and they want to know why they got high blood pressure. Look at the statistics. It is what it is, because they like a lot of salt in everything they do. And I'm not against that if that's what your taste buds like. Now, your body may not like it 30 years from now, but if your taste buds like that much salt, I'm fine with that." And it was not, I never said the food didn't taste good. All I said was it had more salt than I would like for my taste. That's all I said to her. And then so she's like, "Well, you need to drink more water." And I'm thinking to myself, maybe you ought to use less salt. And then I wouldn't need so much water, because I don't need to drink an ocean to eat a piece of meatloaf. The meatloaf was very, very tasty. She had good ingredients, the bell peppers, all that. She had good ingredients in the meatloaf. But the sauce on top, which is like a tomato paste that she used, had a lot of seasoning in it. And the seasoning was dominated by salt. And ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just too much salt for my taste buds. And then the other thing too, they advertise desserts. When I asked about desserts, she said only on Fridays. Well, your website and your menu don't say that. It said we have desserts. So because I wanted to try out the banana bread and the banana pudding maybe. So, I spent like $25, which is not bad because I got a lot of food and you stay full. And the meatloaf was nice and soft and fluffy, which is the way I like it. The tomato paste on top of the meatloaf, that's where all the taste buds just went to hell. I'm thinking this got a lot of salt in it and stuff. So saying that, she took offense to it, and then I asked her. I said, "You don't open from 11 to 4 o'clock?" She says, "Yes." Well, I found out why. She closes down on some days. I don't know which days, and she closes the shop, and they have spades tournament in their restaurant. I said, "Wow." So actually, the spade tournament is more important than the restaurant. And see, in Memphis, a lot of the restaurants open at 11 o'clock. Not all are open 7 days a week, which really bothers me. At least be open 6 days a week. I understand you meant to resupply and restock and all that, but it's only open like maybe 4 or 5 days out of the week. And the staff was very, very good, very, very cordial. You know how Southern people are. They always say hi to you. They're always nice to you. Totally different from up north, where they can give a damn if you say anything, if you speak to them at all. Up north, they don't care if you speak to them or not. Just pay your bill. So the whole thing was kind of weird because the food was tasty, but had more salt than I wanted. And then as I drove around Memphis, I went down to some other places in Memphis, and I wanted to try some other things out, like a dessert and other kind of stuff. They were not open on a Tuesday. I was like, what the hell? It's Tuesday. And see, I try to go to small local businesses to put a little money into the economy in that area. And it was 6 of us all together. And so I'm thinking, okay, we all gonna spend about $10 on a dessert. We spent $25 on lunch. So, but if you're not open, how can I help you? I can't help you if you're not open. And so for me, it was very frustrating as I drove around on Front Street and took some drone shots of the Pyramid and St. Jude's. So I wonder, I can't help these small businesses that are not open, but that's their choice. And a lot of them open only during lunch, and they don't have parking. Now, Memphis is not a city that they got these crazy parking fees. Most of the places you can park in Memphis is on the street, and you can park 2 blocks from where you're trying to go eat at. But why put a restaurant up? Why have a restaurant and there's no parking for your patrons? I mean, I'm like, okay, there should be parking across the street, maybe in front of the restaurant. And she did have a sign said that parking for the restaurant only, but it was only 2 slots. And if I got 10 tables in there, I want at least 5 slots. No, not this place. In Memphis in general do not have a lot of parking downtown. Now, I'm sure they have parking for people going to the hospital. I'm sure they have all that, but they just don't have a lot of parking near these small restaurants. So it's one of the things that was kind of weird to me. And I was thinking to myself the entire time, okay, I want to go here, but I drove around the block about 3 or 4 times and saw no parking. So I didn't go to those restaurants because there's just no parking. It is what it is. So what I had decided to do, and they got plenty of parking, is when you go to the suburbs, they got plenty of parking in the suburbs. You can, any place you want to go to, whether it's a strip mall or a mall, and I don't eat in malls at all. I don't care what restaurant it is. I just don't do malls at all. So in the suburbs, they had places to park at, which I'm thinking, okay, this is kind of cool. But I wanted to really go because the suburbs is not the true site of the city, no matter where you go at. The suburbs is totally different. I wanted to go downtown Memphis, hit a couple mom and pop places, do all that kind of stuff. And there's just no parking. It is what it is. And yet, some of these places, they advertise, they promote. Let me tell you about Memphis, Tennessee. Every place that sells barbecue don't mean the barbecue is good. No. So don't get it twisted. Every place that sells barbecue is not always good. Now, I went to the German market. Their barbecue there at that it really is a little shack. That food is very good, very tasty, very good, and they use my philosophy. I'm not going to add a lot of salt and pepper. Anything I can add on later, when I cook, I don't use a lot of it. Like say salt or pepper. I don't put a lot of salt and pepper in my food because once it's done, if you decide you need more than what I put in there, then guess what? You can add it yourself. You can't take anything out of it, so I don't put a lot in. But you can add as much as you want after the food has been cooked. So I ate at a couple of shacks there, and the food was very good. Now I ate at one place, the food totally sucked. The barbecue was. I have this philosophy. When I want barbecue, when I walk in, I want to see a smoker. So I know that you're making my barbecue right there and then. And then I noticed that I went to 3 different places, and the size were like the same. And then so I thought that was interesting. I'm like, the size are the same, they taste similar. I ordered like mac and cheese. I ordered like green beans, baked beans. I ordered the same size at all 3 places just to prove to myself that something was not right. So, like I said earlier, everybody, if you don't have a smoker, then that means that the food is all cooked in a central location. And then it's distributed to the chain restaurants like Corky's or like a Interstate, barbecue, Corky's barbecue. No, it's not like everybody is cooking that food on site. They may tell you that. That's not true at all. That food is cooked in one place and distributed through either a catering van or whatever. Because I asked a lady, I said, hey, what's original? She said the sauces are. But now, let me get back to why that's important to know that. It's important to know that all the food is cooked by one pit master in one location, and then whether it's Interstate or whatever you want to call it, Corky's and all this other stuff is then distributed to all the different other locations throughout the city. Now, one of the things I said earlier was that not all places can cook barbecue. And I told you earlier that I ordered the same size from different restaurants. I was talking to a guy at the airport, and I asked him, what is your job? He said, hey, I cook for restaurants. I said, what do you mean? He said, I cook all the sides for these 4 or 5 different chains. I said, okay, let's delve into that. He says, when you order mac and cheese from these 3 or 4 chains, it's going to taste the same because I cook all of their sides for them. He says, if you order baked beans, I cook all the sides. If you order green beans, if you order rice, he said that way the restaurant the restaurant don't have to spend money and time making sides when they can order from me, and I make all the sides early in the morning and I deliver them to the restaurant. That's why some places you go, they'll say, we're out of baked beans. Because I used to wonder, how in the hell you run out of baked beans and you got barbecue in the South? Because they only ordered so many cups of baked beans. Once they're gone, they're gone. Because I'm thinking, my logic is once they're gone, make more. No, they don't make more because they don't have any more to make on site. So that's why they all tasted the same. Because when I mentioned the restaurants that I ate at, he said, yep, I sell them sides. The potato salad, the exact same. He said, I sell them sides, I sell them sides, I sell them sides. So when you go to any of these 3 or 4 places, you order this, it's going to taste the exact same. Now, they're not the first ones to do that in Memphis. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of places that do that around here. But this guy really let me into a few details that maybe I didn't want to know. He gave me a few details that maybe it'd been better if I didn't know. But I'm like, that's why if I go here, I'm not ordering this, because if it's bland in this restaurant chain, it's going to be bland in this other restaurant chain, because the same guys made it for both chains. That's important for me to know that, because he gave me a rundown of all the places that he cooked for, he makes sides for, and I'm like, okay. He said, that's why you notice they all offer the same desserts, which is true. I said, yeah, I did notice that. They all offer the same desserts because I make their desserts for them as well. And so that solidified why I like going to one-off places, because their one-off place is not going to use that guy. But when you got 4, 5, or 6 chains, you don't want somebody or paying somebody to make baked beans for you all day long. No, you don't. What you want is just to have all the baked beans you need for the next 2 or 3 days ready to go. So I thought that was very, very interesting when he told me that. I said, that's another insight that I'm going to share with my people here. So now I knew McDonald's always did that. I knew Burger King, I knew the large chains always did that. They make everything and then they flash freeze it and they flash cook it. Yes, that we expect. But it's just that in Memphis, as good as barbecue is, and with the competition there, I thought it'd be a little bit different. No, this guy is making the size for everybody. So my point is, if you go to a chain and they're making the same size as another chain, they're all getting it from one central depository, and he's making it for he's making it for everybody. It's almost saying like the cornbread for the entire city is made by one person. If that person don't make it very good, no matter where you go, don't order cornbread. It's not gonna be very good. That's just how it works there. So he told me all that, and he's very, very good about it. Now, like I said, Memphis is great for barbecue. Your problem is, what if I don't want barbecue? Then guess what? You go to Memphis, you're gonna damn starve. It is what it is. Don't look for anything else. They don't do anything else very well. They just don't. I tried that. You throw money away. I looked at German restaurants. I looked at Italian restaurants, and the ones they had were upper scale. And I promise you, noodles don't cost that much to make. It's just flour. Flour and oil and butter. Noodles don't cost much to make. So you go to an Italian meal and they want to charge you $30 and $40 for flour. You can get 5 pounds of flour for $3 damn. And that 5 pounds of flour can make noodles for a whole damn month. So you go there, don't mess with certain things, stick to the barbecue. But at the end of the day, how many times can you eat barbecue in a week? I eat barbecue about 4 times because I knew that's the one thing that most of the restaurants can cook decently. Most of them can cook that decently. But when I tried other things, hell, you go to McDonald's, the burger didn't even taste right. It's almost like someone wishing they had barbecue. So everything was totally different. And so just expect to get what you get when you leave the barbecue realm. It ain't gonna be very good. No, it's not gonna be very good. But the barbecue, I'm not gonna say it's hit and miss. It's a hit most of the time. You will find some misses there. So, but it's a hit most of the time though. But and the prices aren't really that bad. But Memphis is one of the few cities you can go order a lunch and spend $40. If you get a 3-meat combo, you can spend $40 on lunch. And you're like, you know what? They give you a lot of food. The South in general is going to give you a lot of food. So that much I know is going to happen unless you're in Atlanta. They don't give you nothing. You just get ripped the hell off. But Memphis though, and they don't nag you about a tip either. They say 10, 15, 18, 20. You go to Atlanta and other places, they start 18% gratuity. When I see that, I automatically say, okay, Let me do the math. What is 10%? Because it's like 7 or 8 of us in line ordering food. I'm talking about real quick. And then they have service fees and all the other fees. No. When you built that restaurant, you knew I don't want a construction fee. When I built that restaurant, it's added to the price of the food that I sell you today. I'm not going to surprise you that you got another fee that you need to worry about. So that's Memphis, Tennessee. I'm going to do another Memphis, and I'm going to talk about some other things that's not so much food related about Memphis, Tennessee. Coming up next. This is your boy, DJ Leon. We'll talk in a second.